Go right ahead.
Okay, hi, this is, I'm Doug Hanem. I'm the chairman of the City Zoning and Annexation Committee, and I'm here subbing for the much better hearing conductor, Mary Westfall, who's excused tonight. I think she's in a very exciting place. But,
Yep.
So we're here, we're gonna do two hearings. The first one, and the one that we're gonna convey first, is on SUP number 2026. The applicant for this is actually the Ability Center of Greater Toledo on Monroe Street here. And the property has an existing SUP, which was established in 1979 and amended in 2028. When you have an SUP, any subsequent renovation or addition project to the SUP requires submission and approval of an amended special use permit and approval by council. Council also requested that this property be rezoned from MX to B2. So council reviewed the application and referred it to the Planning Commission for its review and recommendation. And after considering this on February 11th, 2026, the Planning Commission approved the proposed SUP and change of zoning unanimously, 4-0. And so we are here tonight to have a public hearing on this zoning change, and depending on the comments that we receive tonight, council can may decide to move forward with that and formalize that at tonight's meeting. So with that introduction, I would ask if there was anyone in the audience who is prepared to speak in favor of the SUP and the zoning change. We don't need anybody, but if anybody wants to, you're welcome to. Okay. I will then ask if any members of council or Mr. Mayor, if you have any comments on this.
Yes, if you don't mind, Mr. Hanem.
Sure.
My thought process is the Ability Center is looking to make a significant investment in our community. I don't remember what the exact numbers are, but we certainly appreciate the longstanding relationship that we've had with the Ability Center, not just as a stakeholder in our community, having office space and other facilities here, but also in the other services that they provide our citizenry. So we certainly appreciate that. I also wanted to mention that they were also very helpful in providing information to the Public Service Department when we were looking at the downtown transportation improvements, on making sure that we were as accessible as we possibly could be. So we certainly appreciate their longstanding relationship in our community.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any other comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to move approval of SUP number 1 and the change in zoning to from MX to B2-SUP, and entertain a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion.
And a second?
Second.
Again, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn the public hearing on SUP 1 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And so the public hearing on SUP number 1 2026 is concluded. Next, I will convene the public hearing on SUP number 2 2026. And this again is a petition submitted by the Ability Center of Greater Toledo The current property is currently vacant R1 land adjacent to and owned by the Ability Center of Greater Toledo. And the proposed renovation project on the adjacent parcel includes proposed parking drive area through the parcel. And the application is to amend the SUP to request this property be rezoned from R1 to B2. So it is to add the property to the SUP and rezone it. And again, council, having reviewed the application, referred this matter to the Planning Commission for their review and recommendation. And on February 11th, the Planning Commission recommended to council to approve the zoning amendment as submitted, and they voted unanimously 4-0 to recommend that to council. So we are here tonight to conduct the public hearing on SUP number 2-2026 to hear from any comments the public may have on this zoning change. And I will open the floor now to anyone who wishes to speak in support of this zoning change. Hearing no one, I open the floor to anyone who wishes to speak against it. Oh, you want to speak? Sure. Please step up to the podium. Tell us your name and address. I'm sorry, I was too quick there. It's not like we have any place really fast to go.
My name is Barbara Futrell. My address is 5240 Coldstream Road. And we're Toledo, but we're Sylvania Township. We're neighbors.
You're always welcome here. Go ahead.
What's that?
I said you're always welcome here.
Okay, well, we're neighbors to the Ability Center, and we attended the meeting that they had for everyone to come to. Very few people showed up. We feel that they're good neighbors. We've seen the renderings of all of the, the changes that they want to make. The architect, it's going to be beautiful, I think. And as long as the zoning says that yes, nothing else will be built there, it will still be a nice field with trees behind us. We're all for it. We do appreciate them.
Well, what I will tell you is that we can't promise that nothing will ever happen there. But if it does, or if it's proposed, it has to come back to council and go through this whole process, and you'll have an opportunity to be heard on any modifications. So one of the great things about these SUPs is once we get a proposal and we look at it, if we approve it, that's what can be done. And any change in that requires a administrative process and the adoption of a new ordinance. So nothing will happen that you don't know about in advance, and nothing that you would not be allowed to be heard on.
Well, we do support them then.
Thank you.
I represent the neighborhood, I guess. Nobody seems to want to come to the meetings, but they have things to say, so.
You know all about that.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, no, we support it, my husband and I. So I guess that's it.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, we appreciate it.
Thank you for the comments.
All right. Yes.
My name's Ash Lemons. I'm the Executive Director at the Ability Center, and I just want to say our organization has been in the community for 106 years, started by the Toledo Rotary, and this is the first time since 1980 that we've had a really substantial support from the state with grants. That's what's really made this project possible. So a lot of our state representatives helped us get to this point. This is going to be a huge improvement to our community. We actually serve 13 counties in Northwest Ohio, and we will be able to have an event center. We'll have parking. People won't have to cross Monroe, which they have previously, to get to our events. So this is greatly enhancing access to the community and the work that we do with home modifications, medical equipment, school facility dogs. We have a whole bunch of stuff that we do there, but I just want to say thank you.
I just want to echo the mayor speaks for all of us, appreciating your presence in our community and the commitments that you've made to Sylvania and the services that you provide, not just Sylvania residents, but residents throughout Lucas County. So we appreciate that. All right, I will entertain a motion to advance this zoning amendment SUP number 2, 2026 to the regular council agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I'll then entertain a motion to adjourn this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So I call this meeting to be adjourned, and our council meeting starts in 18 minutes, I guess.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sylvania City Council meeting for April 6, 2026. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Hanson?
Here.
Mr. Hanem?
Here.
Mr. McCann?
Here.
Mr. Murphy? Here. Mr. Richardson?
Here.
Ms. Dow?
Here.
And Mrs. Westfall is excused.
Thank you very much. 6 members of council are in attendance, therefore a quorum does exist. Moving on to the second item of the agenda, we have the Pledge of Allegiance, led this evening by Mr. Richardson. If you'd all please rise as you're able.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We have a number of items that we need to add to the agenda. Earlier this evening, there was a public hearing. We had 2 pieces of proposed legislation that were advanced by council vote during the public hearing, ordinance 73 and 74 for consideration. I'd like to add the information on the public hearing as agenda item 7A. The actual piece of legislation number ordinance 73, 2026 regarding SUP 1, 2026 is 7B, and 7C would be proposed ordinance 74, 2026 on regards to SUP 2, 2026. In addition to that, I'd also like to add agenda item 16A. We had a couple of council members that requested a brief construction update on the bridge from Mr. Shaw. And Mr. Shaw, are you okay with doing that?
Absolutely.
And so hearing those particular items, are there any other items that need to be added to the agenda for members of council? Hearing none. Mr. Shaw.
Mr. Mayor.
Chief Miller.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Mrs. Smith.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Brining.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Hearing there's no other additions to the agenda, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried, and the additions to the agenda are added. And now we'll move on. In Mrs. Westfall's absence, we need to elect the President Pro Tem for this evening's meeting.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hanem.
I move that we elect Patrick Richardson as President Pro Tem for this evening's meeting.
Second. We have a motion and a second to elect Mr. Richardson to be the President Pro Tem of the Sylvania City Council for this evening's meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. And, congratulations to Mr. Richardson.
Thank you.
Or condolences, maybe.
We'll see how it goes.
It's early.
You get a hand cramp. Huh?
Yeah, you want to switch the signs? No? Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item number 5, we have the approval of the council meeting minutes for the meeting of March 16th, 2026.
Yes,
Mr.
Mayor.
Richardson.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from March 16th, 2026 as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the meeting minutes for the council meeting of March 16th, 2026 as submitted. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item number 6, we are pleased and honored to have Dr. Veronica Motley here in our council chambers this evening, along with members of the school board and other members of the administrative staff. We certainly appreciate that, to discuss the state of the schools. I gave her 15 minutes and I was told it would not be any more than 45 by the president of the school board. But nonetheless, obviously we've got a lot of stuff going on. One of the reasons our community is the way that it is and it attracts people the way that it does is because of our wonderful schools in this area. So we certainly appreciate that. Dr. Motley, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, members of council, mayor, members of the community. Thank you for giving us some time on your agenda tonight. I greatly appreciate it. We're going to give a brief state of the school's presentation. I apologize for some of you who have seen it, maybe their second or third time, so it will be quite familiar. If you want, you can join in with me. But it's important that we have this opportunity to come out and share some of the wonderful things that many of you already know about our Sylvania schools. So this evening I want to share, and I apologize that my back's going to be to some of you, but a couple of things we wanted to share. let's try enter. There we go. Last fall, we actually conducted a research-based survey to our community members because we wanted some hard data. One, I'll be candid, because of my transition, if you weren't already aware that I will be retiring this July, and our new superintendent, who's right behind me, Mr. Tim Zeroff, will be taking on the chair and the lead. And we thought it was important to get a pulse of the community. What type of job are we doing? What type of leadership do we need to focus on? Where do we need to go? So we really took the initiative to ask our community members, how are we doing? Are we meeting your expectations? And what we found that 90% of the participants in the survey had a 90% favorable opinion, rather, of the 400 plus individuals who took part in the survey. In addition, it was highly noted that our teachers are highly trusted across all of our buildings in the community and rated a 93% trust factor with our instructors and our staff. Some other key statements that came out from the survey, and again, this is a random sample. You'll see the percentages listed there of respondents who agreed with the following statements. 77% agreed that the quality of our school system had an influence on living in the district, and 86% rather, of the residents have pride in our Sylvania schools. Also, 87% of the district felt that the district provides high quality education to its students, and 90% agree that a strong school system has a positive impact on property value. I will tell you, from the moment I stepped into Sylvania, as you all know, I'm a transplant from Northeast Ohio, don't hold it against me. But I will share with you, one of the things that the former mayor shared with me is that our schools are the heartbeat of Sylvania. People move to Sylvania for our schools and the product we are able to deliver in partnership with our families and community. Keeping that in mind, let's see, some additional areas of strength that we are able to demonstrate high importance. This is the job we do with the magic happening in the classroom each and every day, because although we administrators are helping things along, it's what takes place in the classroom each and every day with our students and our teachers. They felt, our community feels, that we do a gosh darn good job of preparing students for a career, for college and the military, whatever choice a student may find the direction in which they would like to pursue. In addition, they recognize that our efforts, how we support special education, students that have learning differences, albeit gifted on one end of the continuum or on the other end of the continuum as far as necessary supports in the classroom, we do a great job meeting the diverse needs of our student population. In addition, we also have some challenges. We can't always talk about the good stuff all the time. We had to have an honest question. What are the challenges that our community feels that we are facing? And right now, these are challenges, but also areas for opportunity. There are some financial pressures and challenges. We know the state of affairs across the state and the nation. We also know we have challenges with growth. And some overcrowding. The good thing is our school board has been very proactive in had moved forward with a facilities plan, a master facilities plan, so they are prepared to accommodate growth in the future. However, that still remains a concern in regards to class size, the number of belly buttons in each classroom each and every day. And also a challenge is the political climate that we face. So keeping that in mind, there are some other things we wanted to share, and this is just the gems. You've heard me say this. We know that Sylvania is a gem in the crown of Northwest Ohio. And in conclusion, these are the things that we are most proud of. We have a tradition of excellence with a personal touch. We have exceptional educators and staff, and a community that invests in its schools. We have opportunities for every student. And most importantly, we maintain a commitment to continuous improvement. We do not rest on our laurels. But as we continue to look forward, we all know, and one thing that you will hear us say, and we're going to talk a little bit more tonight about, is we all know it's no secret our Sylvania schools will be on the ballot in May. More specifically, May 5th. And keeping that in mind, I want to share a couple of details. As you know, this will be a continuing levy. Our district has not asked for new money in nearly 10 years. 10 years, and this would be a continuing levy, and it's a general operating levy. So it will go to, as you can see on the slide there, I won't read it in great detail, but for day-to-day functions. In addition, it is a 7.9 mill levy, which will yield approximately $8.2 million per year. And it will cost approximately $277 per $100,000 home on the market, based on market value. So keeping those numbers in mind. I know that our treasurer could not be here tonight. He is supporting his son on a baseball trip, which I was just talking about that earlier from the Ability Center. But I told him that I would echo his sentiments and his facts, and I have some fact checkers behind me to make sure I keep it accurate. So right now, a financial overview for our school district. State funding 101, State of Ohio funding represents about 26% of our annual budget, our overall general fund budget, I should say. Our local property tax represents about 69% of our budget. We know from what we've heard from Columbus right now that essentially Columbus has said they are reducing what we have as far as revenue, their state level contribution to our general fund. Hence, we have to go back to the taxpayers and ask our local taxpayers to support our operations. Keeping that also in mind, we have been monitoring and making adjustments along the way. There's a reason why they call it a 5-year forecast. We recognize also 5-year forecast can be kind of shaky the last 2 years, right? But we've been monitoring each and every year, how can we reduce our spending? And I will tell you, I'm not always popular amongst our principals and teachers because I have reduced their budgets over the last 2 to 3 years, every year, annually, slowing the pace of how we spend our money. However, I will also echo, this is not an expenditure problem. This is a revenue concern. We've made $1.76 million in staff reductions over the last 4 years. We've reduced our contracted services. We've reduced materials and supplies. Overall, we've cut $2 million from our budget in anticipation of deficit spending. We've also had the cost avoidance with $9.7 million in our healthcare premiums. So we again are continuing to monitor our money, not unlike many of you in your own households. When money gets tight, you have to look at where you're going to take money from, but also maintaining the quality of instruction and experiences that we have for all of our students across the district. So a couple of little final notes. This is just a statewide comparison. As you will see, these are what we call similar districts based on a state of Ohio Department of Education and Workforce definition. This isn't out of Veronica Motley's back pocket or Adam Koch. This is something that if you go on the district or the state website and ask for similar districts, how do we compare with districts that are very much like us? And you will see revenue per student comparison, we are near the bottom in compared to others such as Mayfield, Maumee, Nordonia, Beaver Creek, Westerville, and other districts as noted. Another important detail, this is expense per student comparison. These are districts that are also local as well as similar districts. And again, you'll see Sylvania schools, we're about 15, put on my eyes so I can see that from here, 15,041 compared to the statewide average. We are still very much near the lower third, 25%. So what does that mean? Here's something you'll see with local tax collection here. Property tax per value will be the blue. The orange you'll see for Perrysburg and Bowling Green, they actually both have an income tax, but you'll see again where we rate is around $1,067 in local tax comparison. So I've rattled off a lot of numbers. Adam would be proud, but more importantly, what does this mean for our Sylvania residents? Well, what it means is we are utilizing our tax dollars efficiently. What we have collected, we have monitored, we've pulled back, we've had to reduce our budget, and we've been watching the bottom line. In addition, what does that mean for Sylvania? Cost per pupil, again, is below state average. We continue to do more with less, even though prices are going up. You know, when you go to the pump these days, we know what gas looks like. Imagine that for a fleet of 88 buses running diesel fuel. That small change has made a significant change on our bottom line just over the course of the last month. We are lean with our responsible operations. We're making careful staffing decisions. When we are looking to hire a new position, we are looking at, can we reduce the number of days? Can we reduce that particular salary based on the number of days of employment within the district? Is there enough workload, or can we take that position and divide it amongst other employees and save that money to the general fund? We are not just hiring to continue to hire and fill the seat, but we actually conduct audits of those positions and then design the job around what we have now and the ability, especially with technology, do we still need a full-time person or a person to fill that job at all? So through attrition, we have also been able to reduce some staffing across the district. And finally, our ongoing commitment to fiscal stewardship. It's important that not only I, but our colleagues and our working with OC, our two unions and SEA, that we recognize that we have to do more with less, just like everyone else. And what I want to make sure is everyone knows tonight that we will continue to be committed to that financial stewardship. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our board president, Mr. Greg Feller, so he can share his thoughts with you as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So, Mr. Feller, is this where it gets long-winded?
Yes, yes, very much so. No, I will be very short, I promise. I think I know everybody here, but for the record, I'm Greg Feller, president of the school board this year. Just want to thank everyone for letting us come and present. So there are rules about what administration is and isn't allowed to say, so I'm the transition between administration and the campaign. I do want to mention one thing, though, that I think is really important. You know, we have not asked for a levy in 10 years. I'm pretty certain there is not another school district in Northwest Ohio that can say that. They've all had levies since in the last 10 years. So I think that's really important to show that, you know, we have been trying very hard to stretch our dollars as far as we can. You know, we're basically operating on money that's 10 years old. Haven't had an increase since then. So that's, I think that's important and a key point. And, you know, I know all of you are aware, but obviously, you know, a strong school district is key to having a strong community, and we want to maintain that. So, you know, we know it's a fairly sizable ask, but we do want to continue to provide the excellent education and all the opportunities for students that we do. So, you know, we're asking for hopefully your personal support and endorsement, but more importantly, you know, help spread the word to your contacts and kind of get the word out there to support this. So I'll be here to answer questions afterwards, but I just want to say a couple things, and I will turn it over to Tara to talk more about the campaign.
Thank you. My name is Tara Hay, and I am honored to serve as the campaign chairperson for this May levy. Some of you may know me through my involvement in bringing the first inclusive and accessible playground to Sylvania. It's a project near and dear to my heart. Professionally, I've spent 14 years as an executive for international grocer Aldi. The majority of my career was spent in the national buying office, where I was involved in everything from product development and procurement to pricing strategies and supplier relations. Today, I'm a proud mom of my 10-year-old son, Isaac, a 4th grader at Stranahan Elementary. I spend my days substitute teaching, volunteering, and caring for my son. When my family and I moved to this area in 2019, we chose Sylvania because of the school district. We knew that strong schools drive strong property values. Data shows that well-funded strong schools have homes that sell at higher values and appreciate at faster rates. Top-rated schools enhance a neighborhood appeal, attracting buyers and increasing demand. Strong property values lead to a better long-term investment returns. When you have strong schools and strong property values, you create a strong community filled with pride and support. I'm proud to be part of this levy campaign because I truly value the education, environment, and opportunities that Sylvania schools provide. Most importantly, I value the caliber of our staff and the care, guidance, and stability they offer our students every single day. Sylvania teachers make a tremendous impact on the lives of our children and in many instances, impact an entire family. Teachers like Eric Swindell, who made special communication videos for my son during preschool when schools were closed during COVID. My son is non-speaking and uses an AAC device with a robust language system called POD. Eric not only learned the system quickly, he embraced it, creating a connection with my son that allowed him to flourish. Eric's daughter Elise was often included in these video messages, and she too would communicate with Isaac using Pod. As a parent of a child with special needs, interactions like these don't always exist, but when they do, they leave a lasting impression. Teachers like Jenny Harding, who impact her students and their families, looking for ways to offer support beyond the classroom. Jenny introduced me to a fellow special needs mom because she knows that friendships outside the classroom are just as important as those inside, and that when families connect socially, you build a strong community. I feel so fortunate to be in a community where these types of interactions occur across our district. It's not uncommon for me to see pictures on Facebook of groups of teachers who stop by to watch their students play soccer or volleyball. Alumni like Ben Tucker, 2024 Southview grad, accredits the AP courses offered at Southview for preparing him for the rigorous course materials at the U.S. Naval Academy. 2021 Northview grad, Cecile Schrader, gives credit to the MedTech first attended Brown University before beginning medical school at Northwestern. Cecile remembers her love for medicine beginning with Science Olympiad, an extracurricular she participated in at Arbor Hills. Alumni Alex West, a 2019 Northview grad, gives credit to the MedTech career program and preparing him for college and now medical school. Alec participated in multiple athletics at Northview before playing collegiate basketball at West Liberty. He is now studying medicine at UT while returning to Sylvania as the assistant basketball coach at Northview. Jack Malik, a 2013 Northview grad, is now the chief of staff at Google. Jack explains that by supporting this levy, you aren't just funding classrooms, you are investing in a proven pipeline that turns local students into leaders. These are just a handful of examples of what makes Sylvania schools great. A well-funded school has the resources to recruit talented teachers and staff members, offer over 25 AP courses, 50 extracurricular activities, programs, 25 varsity sports, and 14 career tech offerings that impact our students' lives and leave lasting impressions. To maintain that level of excellence, we must continue to support our schools. While no one enjoys rising expenses, supporting our schools is ultimately an investment in our children, our neighborhoods, and the future of Sylvania. Over the last several weeks, I've had the pleasure of meeting and working alongside some very dedicated individuals that share my passion for the community and our schools. These individuals have volunteered their time because they care. They value the education our children receive and support this levy, and will join me in voting for issue number 4 on May 5th. I encourage you to vote for issue number 4 as well. Our campaign has created 7 committees, each led by someone who will guide the effort and support volunteers along the way. We welcome volunteers to assist in an array of campaign activities, from delivering yard signs to community outreach and fundraising. You can learn more about our campaign at voteforsylvaniaschools.org, where we have various information, facts about the levy. You can request a yard sign, you can sign up to volunteer, and even make donations to the campaign. Funds raised will support direct mailers, yard signs, and outreach efforts. And of course, we encourage you to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, where we have a tremendous amount of testimonials from alumni and families throughout the community sharing their message. Thank you again for allowing me to speak. Whether you can help for an hour or simply lend your voice in conversation, your involvement matters, your vote matters. Campaigns like this are powered by people, not just their time, but their belief in what we're doing. Students of Sylvania schools have proven that education they receive and the extracurriculars they participate prepare them for the future. This levy is about protecting what we already have. Our children deserve the opportunity to meet their fullest potential. I encourage you to get to the polls and vote for issue number 4 on May 5th, because every vote matters. Thank you.
Thank you for the commentary and all the information from Dr. Motley. as well. Are there any questions or comments from members of council?
First of all, you have my endorsement for this levy, and please feel free to share that with, not that anybody cares, but the schools have been really important to our family. I mean, three graduates who are now parents themselves, 3 grandsons in the system, a daughter who is an assistant varsity coach today, who's previous assistant varsity softball coach at Southview. She's a Southview graduate. She was a really good pitcher, so you got a winner there. But we all know how important Sylvania schools are to our community, and we also know you've got a tough road ahead of you. And I'll be in touch with you and see what I can do to volunteer and make this campaign a success. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Mr. Hannum. Any other comments or
I just
questions
have
from?
a question. Dr. Motley, class size now and then what you hope it to be if the levy passes? Average classes?
Yeah, our elementary class size is now right around 21 and a half, 22 for grade level. That's kindergarten through 5th grade. Our goal is to keep those as low as possible. We have been dove into cuts if this levy in May does fail, because ultimately we have 2 swings at it. You know, if we pass it in calendar year 26, we don't collect that money until January 27. So we haven't got to the point on what reductions we will need to take place, but the goal is ultimately to put class sizes around mid to low 20s.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments from members of council?
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple.
Mr. Hanson.
So I do want to say, you know, my family and I moved here 18 years ago. And the reason we moved here was for Sylvania schools, so I can relate to much of what you're saying. At the same time, the feedback I'm hearing from the community is property taxes just increased 30%. You know, this is a large increase on top of that. It's not that they don't support Sylvania schools, it's just more of a financial consideration for them. How would you address somebody that had that concern, where it was just purely financial, not so much that they don't support the school system?
It's tough. I'll be candid. We recognize that it's tough. We've heard from specifically the members of our senior community who we know are on fixed incomes, and recognize that if you retired 30 years ago and your money is the same, that it doesn't go as far. And to say that you are going to have an increase, we recognize that's a tough decision. We ask that maybe if you can't support the levy in that way, come out and support our kiddos in other ways, because we recognize it is a personal financial decision, but also recognize that for those who may have had children that went before, we also had residents that had to support children in school before. And unfortunately, the state has put us in a situation where our state percentage has decreased. And essentially Columbus has said, you have strong housing values, you have a strong community, and the interpretation is almost like you can afford it as taxpayers, and that doesn't resonate well with us. I would also say, encourage you to reach out to your legislators at the state level and start to lobby for what we can do to help those folks who are on a fixed income, looking at the rollback tax, looking at homestead, and looking to see are there other ways that we can offset that expense for our most senior citizens.
Thank you.
Sure.
Can I touch that real quick?
Absolutely.
I just lost my train of thought. So one thing I did want to say, you know, Dr. Motley talked about the state funding. Several years ago, our state funding, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think this is right. We were getting 24% of our funding came from the state. Now I believe it's down to 18. So over the years, the state funding keeps dropping lower and lower and lower. And you know, it is very unfortunate with the timing of the increased taxes that just happened with our value increases. I feel it, you know, I'm paying more taxes too. But you know, I think it's important to note, and I've heard this a lot, people say, well, our taxes just went up, the schools are getting so much more money. We're not. So the way funding works and the way the levies work, we don't collect any more money
when taxes go up, our effective rate goes down. So, you know, when we pass a levy,
The valuations go up.
as the valuations
You
go
don't
up,
get
our
more
effective
money.
rate goes down, so we're still collecting the same amount of money. So while taxes did increase significantly last year, mine did too, the schools are not collecting more money because of that. So I just wanna make sure that's, everyone's aware of that.
Other questions or comments from members of council?
I'll add a quick one.
Estelle?
As a graduate of Sylvania schools, I appreciate the education that I got there, and it is challenging with the expenses. I really appreciated Marcus Hansen's question and your responses, but I support our Sylvania schools and I will be supporting this as well.
Anything else? Thank you very much for the information. We certainly appreciate it. I would like to mirror the comments from Mr. Hanem in regards to the endorsement. I would happy to endorse this particular levy. It's important to our school system, but I do recognize to Mr. Hanson's perspective that there are many of our citizens that are challenged, as you indicated, Dr. Motley, and that's a difficult thing, and that's a tough vote for many of them. Hopefully they'll be supportive in this particular situation, recognizing the history of the district stretching its dollars as far as it can. So, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
Exit stage left.
No, understand.
Okay. Okay, great.
Moving on to agenda item number 7, I've got a proclamation here, and since there isn't anybody here to receive the proclamation, I'm just gonna read it from back here. As many of you know, we have been a tree city in the city of Sylvania for many decades. And part of that, there's a 4-part test to be considered a Tree City USA. We have qualified for all those decades, and one of the key considerations is to create a recognition on a community-wide basis of Arbor Day, which we continue to celebrate. So this proclamation is from the Office of the Mayor, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, reduce carbon dioxide levels, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees are a source of joy and spiritual renewal, and whereas Sylvania has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation and desires to continue its tree planting ways. Now, therefore, I, Mark R. Fry, Mayor, do hereby proclaim Monday, April 27th, 2026 as Arbor Day in the city of Sylvania. We urge all citizens to support our efforts to care for our trees and woodlands and support our city's community forestry programs. And I further urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the hearts and promote the well-being of present and future generations. Lastly, that's the end of the proclamation. As many of you know, we have a special tree planting that's coming here in a few weeks outside nearby, basically on Judy Young Drive, across from Maplewood Elementary. We're going to be planting a tree. The state of Ohio received 88 trees. They have one for each county. We were fortunate enough at our request to receive the one tree in Lucas County to be planted. It's an oak tree, which is a fitting tree to be planting right nearby our existing oak tree, which is one of the oldest in the northwest, if not all of Ohio. So we're going to be doing that on April the 27th, that same day at 1 p.m. So you're all invited to be here. There'll be dignitaries, not just myself, but others, hopefully from the county commissioners and others across the community and the county. So wish you all, I hope you can be there and love to see you there on the 27th. So thank you for that. And Mr. Shaw, you will get this over to Parks and Forestry Department where they keep this in the records, correct?
Absolutely.
Super. Moving on to agenda item 7A, we have a report for the public hearing held this evening, or the two public hearings held this evening. Mr. Hanem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We did have two public hearings this evening on two separate SUPs. SUP 1, 2026, and SUP 2, 2026, both applications from the Ability Center to update and expand their existing SUP to add an additional building and some parking spaces. Both of these SUPs were referred to the Planning Commission by council for review and recommendation, and the Planning Commission approved both amendments unanimously with 4-0 votes. At the hearing, there were on SUP 1, there were no comments. At the hearing on SUP 2, a neighbor spoke in support of the zoning amendment, subject to its use as a parking lot, which is all that they could do under the approved SUP. So with that, after adjourning, or prior to adjourning both public hearings, we entertained motions to refer these matters to the main agenda tonight, and we will introduce legislation. Both motions were made by Marcus Hanson and seconded by Patrick Richardson, and then both hearings were adjourned. So, Mr. Mayor, with that, I'm prepared to move forward with the ordinances.
Great. Prior to that, I think, Mr. Hanem, we may have a request from Ms. Stowe.
I would like to request to push back from the table, please,
We have
for
a-
potential conflict
So
of
moved.
interest.
We have a request. Mr. Hanem makes a motion to allow Ms. Stowe to push back from the table for the potential conflict of interest. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to allow Ms. Stowe to push back from the table regarding proposed ordinance 73 and 74, correct? So she'll be pushed back for both of those potential ordinances. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried, and Ms. Stowe is pushed back from the table regarding these two potential ordinances. Moving on to ordinance 73 for consideration, Mr. Hanem.
Mr. Mayor, I move adoption of ordinance number 73-2026. All members having received copies, I'll read by title only, granting a special use permit to permit renovations and additions to the Ability Center campus, 5605 Monroe Street, Sylvania, Ohio, on the application of Ash Lemons, Executive Director of the Ability Center of Greater Toledo, on the recommendation of the Municipal Planning Commission. And I move adoption of ordinance number 73-2026 as an emergency measure.
Second.
A motion and a second to adopt ordinance 73, 2026 as an emergency measure. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried, and ordinance 73, 2026 is approved as an emergency measure. Moving on to agenda item number 7C, we have ordinance 74, 2026 for consideration. Mr. Hanem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move adoption of ordinance number 74-2026. All members having received copies, I will read by title only. Granting a special use permit to provide for parking area and driveway for the Ability Center campus, 5023 Skelly, Sylvania, Ohio, on the application of Ash Lemons, Executive Director of the Ability Center of Greater Toledo, on the recommendation of the Municipal Planning Commission, and I move adoption of ordinance number 74-2026 as an emergency measure.
Second. A motion and a second to adopt ordinance 74, 2026 as an emergency measure. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried, and ordinance 74, 2026 is approved as an emergency measure. Thank you very much. And we certainly appreciate the expansion of the Ability Center and continued growth of the Ability Center in our community. Let the record reflect that Ms. Stowe has returned to the table. Moving on to agenda item number 8, we have 10 Mile Creek watershed ditch petition. Mr. Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, members of council. In front of you tonight is two invoices from the Lucas County Engineers Office for their recently adopted ditch petition for 10 Mile Creek and Ottawa River. Mr. Murphy aptly pointed out in my letter, I had a date wrong in the very first sentence, April 1st of 2026. That's obviously April 1st of 2024. That's when this was in front of you last with Ordinance 57, 2024, which declared our intent as a city to pay for the assumed property owner assessments for this ditch petition. So that was a big piece of legislation. We're shouldering the burden of that. And the property owners are not seeing that as an additional line item on their tax duplicate. With that said, we are ready to move forward. We're going to be in year one of the county engineers annual work program of a 6-year plan that they have planned. So their commissioners passed 3 resolutions themselves on March 11th, 2025. One of the resolutions was affirming the findings. Basically, yes, there's a need to put the associated watersheds under petition. The second resolution they passed was approving the benefited schedules, which basically lists and solidifies the boundaries, so to speak, of who's benefited from the ditch petition process. And then the last legislation they had was the establishment of their 6-year work plan, which is readily available. You can see what order and in what year they plan on tackling the different things in the watershed. So that said, our first invoice are due. One invoice is for right-of-way areas, so that would be public rights-of-way. That's in the amount of $41,798.06. And the second invoice is for the assumed benefited improvement that we're going to assume on behalf of our property owners. And that's in the amount of $126,249.58. The county is allowing us to make payments on those, 2 per year, one due in April, one due in August for those amounts, which we intend to do that way. We knew this was coming up. We've been planning for this. We budgeted this in the 503, 7510, 51686 account. And so we're ready to move forward with that. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Shaw?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hanson?
you mentioned, and Mr. Shaw, in your letter, you mentioned about the credit was still being determined or resolved.
As you can imagine, in year one, the bumps and bruises of what's accepted and what isn't, we're still working through that process with the county engineer. Nothing out of the ordinary, just submitting and getting things into a working order with what their expectations are and what's eligible for that matter of fact. You know, reshaping ditches, cutting trees within a ditch, weed whipping ditches within there. Those are all eligible activities. So we've been practicing on documenting this and how we're going to submit it. So we're kind of working through those hills and we'll settle in on an amount that they'll give us for this year. Moving forward into years 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, we are already planning in next year's budget projects that will help us recover as much of this credit as we possibly can. So for example, Heath Ditch over at the north end of Olander, we have concrete channels that we're going to be reshaping and redoing, replacing broken sections. We're fixing a retaining wall. We're cleaning sediment out. All of those are countable things that we can use towards next year's ditch petition credit coming back. But like I said, we're still working through this one. It's going to be probably smaller in year 1. And then as we get to years 2, 3, and 4, we hopefully will try to do as much as we can to get as much of these funds back towards us.
Mr. Shaw, do you have a target possible and what the recovery might be?
For this year, we're targeting about $30,000 to $40,000 is what we're estimating. We think the Heath Ditch portion of that next year will be maybe double that. We've got some projects down the road that might take care of all of that. But we're still working through that work plan ourselves.
Thank you.
I guess just from, let's say from an accounting standpoint, there's no reason to hold off on these invoices until the credit is determined?
We'll pay him and then we'll work through the details and they'll give us a check back or a credit back. Okay. Once those details are finalized.
All right, thank you.
We budgeted for the full amount. In full disclosure, the budget has all of that in it.
Other questions from members of council? Hearing none, we have ordinance 63, 2026 for consideration. Mr. Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to introduce by title only ordinance number 63-2026, authorizing the payment of $41,798.06 to the Lucas County Engineer for the city's right-of-way assessment for the 10 Mile Creek Ottawa River Watershed Petition number 1053, appropriating funds therefore. I move for passage of ordinance number 63-2026 as an emergency measure.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 63, 2026 as an emergency measure. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item or ordinance number 64, 2026. Mr. Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to introduce by title only ordinance number 64-2026, authorizing the payment of $126,249.58 to the Lucas County Engineer for the city's assessment for the 10 Mile Creek Ottawa River Watershed Petition number 1053, appropriating funds therefore. I move for passage of ordinance number 64-2026 as an emergency measure.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 64, 2026 as an emergency measure. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item number 9, Mr. Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a waterline project, we call it number 2. Looking for engineering design services as we're building a robust set of construction plans to be ready, shelf ready for some waterline improvements coming down the stretch for us. This one's on Monroe Street, from about 650 feet west of Silvertown to Whiteford Road. We solicited for letters of interest. We requested that authorization at February 2nd City Council meeting. During the solicitation, we received 4 statement of qualifications from engineering consultants. We scored and ranked all of those and worked with Fishbeck to do scope and fee negotiations. They've given us a proposal in the amount of $67,700 to complete those waterline plans. I will say this is an important project for us. We have some emergency connections to Lucas County's water system. We have one on the west in Sylvania, Metamora. We have one in the south at Sylvania Avenue. And this will give us our 3rd emergency connection at Whiteford Road, where we will tie on to the Lucas County sanitary engineer system for emergency purposes only. So we're well blanketed on all sides of town, which is great. So this was a budgeted project funded from account 701-7525-53501, and we'd recommend approval of the Fishbeck proposal. Be happy to answer questions.
Questions for Mr. Shaw? Hearing none, we have ordinance 65, 2026 for consideration. Mr. Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to introduce by title only ordinance number 65-2026, accepting the proposal of Fishbeck to provide professional engineering services for the Monroe Street Waterline Improvements Project, Silvertown Drive to Whiteford Road, appropriating funds therefore in the amount of $67,700. I move for passage of ordinance number 65-2026 as an emergency measure.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 65, 2026 as an emergency measure. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried and ordinance 65, 2026 is approved as an emergency measure. Moving on to agenda item number 10, Mr. Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We are continuing our right-of-way acquisition process on the Erie and Monroe roundabout, scheduled for construction next year. The one in front of you for this particular ordinance on agenda item 10 is with the Sylvania United Church of Christ. They are the very northwesterly corner of the roundabout. A pretty impacted parcel. A good chunk of the roundabout is into their open area where San Reno and Erie come together. They've been a tremendous partner all along, very supportive of the project. We've worked with them quite a bit. For those that don't know, Warren Henry, if you remember him from Toledo Regional Water and his days in Toledo, he's actually on the board here. He's been super to work with. It's a true class act and everything that we've done so far with this. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned how great it was to have Warren work with us on this. But we've agreed to the ownership there. We've got 0.41 acres of land that we're looking to acquire. It includes 1 tree. We do have a temporary construction easement as well that takes one of their double face signs that's kind of closer to that intersection as well. But all of that for $52,907 to acquire both the permanent and the temporary take for the church. And we would recommend approval.
Questions for Mr. Shaw regarding this matter? Hearing none, we have ordinance 66, 2026 for consideration. Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is ordinance number 66, 2026. I will read by title only. Authorizing the mayor and director of finance to enter into a purchase agreement and temporary construction easement with Sylvania United Church of Christ for the right-of-way acquisition relative to the Erie Street and Monroe Street roundabout project, dedicating the same for public purposes, appropriating funds therefore in the amount of $52,907, and I move passage as an emergency measure.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 66, 2026 as an emergency measure. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion carried, and ordinance 66, 2026 is approved as an emergency measure. Moving on to agenda item 10C, excuse me, Mr. Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Second parcel on the docket tonight is parcel 19, which is our very extreme easterly parcel on the project, more on the Erie Street side, a little bit east of Monroe, to put a gauge on where that's at, northeast corner of the project. Very, very small acquisition here, just a really small sliver at the southwest corner of the property from Ms. Julie Watkins. She too has been very accommodating and working with us on this project too. Included with this is 0.001 acres of land. If I was good and was prepared, I'd give you the square foot to give you a better example than what 0.001 acres is, but I didn't do the math in my head before I got up here, so.
2.4 square feet.
Beautiful, I love it. That's how small it is. So that's the take. It includes a temporary easement as well, just to tie back a little bit on her driveway. We're going a couple feet past the right of way, so a small temporary take to do the driveway tie-in for her as well. We reached an agreement with her in the amount of $300 to acquire both the permanent and the temporary construction easement needed on the project. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Shaw? Mr. Shaw, just one thing. I know you mentioned this to me, but I think it might be helpful for council and the general public. Where are we at in the acquisition process as far as how many of these have we gotten so far? I know we've had some in prior agendas. We've got some yet to go. Where are we at in the total number, relatively speaking?
With Ms. Watkins, that would put us at the 50% mark.
Okay.
So we were halfway through. We have 3 that I would say are challenging ones, and I would say probably another 2 that probably not so challenging, but these are all challenging when you're talking about taking property for public improvements. But I would say the last 5 of them, 2 or 3 of them may be a challenge, but we're working with them. We're having good discussions with their property owners, but about 50%.
Great, thank you very much. Questions for Mr. Shaw regarding this? Hearing none, we have ordinance 67, 2026 for consideration. Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is ordinance number 67, 2026. I will read by title only. Authorizing the mayor and director of finance to enter into a purchase agreement and temporary construction easement with Julie A. Watkins for right-of-way acquisition relative to the Erie Street and Monroe Street roundabout project, dedicating the same for public purposes, appropriating funds therefore in the amount of $300, and I move for passage as an emergency measure.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve ordinance 67, 2026 as an emergency measure. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion carried, and ordinance 67, 2026 is approved as an emergency measure. Moving on to agenda item number 11. Mr. Shaw, downtown transportation improvements.
Mr. Mayor, final engineering related contract modification on our work here. Our phase 2 plans are getting ready to hit the streets here in about a week or 2. So we're very close to wrapping that up and getting the project ready to be sold. But to button up the engineering piece on it with DGL, this is contract modification number 2. If you remember, way back in 23 is actually our first contract with them. It was for $603,100. We did come back and ask for an additional $93,458 on May 19th in 2025. If you recall, when we had originally done our contract with them, it was one for kind of a big project, both phases. We hadn't split the project into phases at that time. And by 2025, we had decided to split the project into two phases for funding purposes to try to get more OPWC funding for the project. So that cost some work, remove the roundabout from it. So that was what that one was about. This one was to finish up these two things that just weren't in the scope of work. So the big thing for them, for the most part, was our public open house that was held right here. The video that we put on the display board is very helpful for people. All of the exhibits, we'd only planned for one open house when we did the entire joint project. So obviously there was some work to do to have a second open house for the second block. So we spent time on that. We've also made some headway on our gateway signage projects. We kind of have those all shaped up with what they're going to look like, but instituting some of that with this project, including the foundations and electrical work, so that we'll be set and ready to go. This is at the very north end at the Erie Street end of the project. So making sure we've got electricity, making sure the foundations are set for those when those are ready to go in. And then we've made some changes to Maplewood Mini Park. We had it as kind of a robust improvement. We've pulled some of that back just a little bit, just not knowing how that parcel is going to work down the road with the funeral home. Just want to make sure we're protecting our investment a little bit, not overextending ourselves, not knowing what happens with that in the future. I am working with the law director to try to secure an additional lease agreement with them, which we have not executed just yet. Again, a little bit of the reason for the pullback on scope of work there at the mini park. So those are the three things. $25,002. Made sure the $2 was in it, I guess, for their work. Certainly would recommend approval. They've worked with us for 3 years now in this project, and a great job. This will finish them out as we move forward into construction for phase 2. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Shaw? Hearing none, we have ordinance 68, 2026 for consideration. Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is ordinance number 68, 2026. I will read by title only. Authorizing the mayor and director of finance to enter into a second amendment to DGL Consulting Engineers LLC's proposal for professional engineering services relative to the downtown transportation improvement project to reflect additional work performed on the project, appropriating funds therefore in an amount not to exceed $25,002, and I'll make a motion for passage as an emergency measure.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve ordinance 68, 2026 as an emergency measure. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried, and ordinance 68, 2026 is approved as an emergency measure. Moving on to agenda item number 12, Main Street and Convent Boulevard Roundabout. Mr. Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ready to get started on engineering at Main and Convent. We were here December 1st, right before the holidays, requesting the authorization to start the letter of interest process to do this project as well. As a reminder, this picks up from our first phase, south of Ravine, where we left off last year. This one grabs the Main and Convent intersection, takes the signal out, turns it into a roundabout. We go down Main Street a little bit, I would say halfway through the Southbriar Shopping Center. The Convent piece takes us to the railroad track, so all of that will be brand new infrastructure, and that leaves us one piece of Main Street left to do, which we are probably going to be back here in early May asking for an authorization to solicit for more surface transportation funding to help us finish out Main Street. So this is the middle piece of it. We had 5 letters of interest submitted by engineering consultants. Again, we go through the scoring and ranking process, and Tetra Tech we thought had given us the best statement of qualifications. We did scope and fee negotiations with them, and they gave us a cost estimate, a proposal in the amount of $387,700 to complete the scope of services. So again, a federal aid project that we're working on. We will come back at some point when the appropriate window opens for OPWC funding to continue to help us with this project, but ready to get started on the engineering services. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Shaw?
Mr. Shaw, when is this scheduled to start?
29.
Other questions for Mr. Shaw?
Mr. Shaw, is is this, we have future roundabouts coming also. Are we tying in the scope of services for all? Are they going, will it be like services? Are we trying to aim in that direction?
Yeah, this one, not particularly with this one, but as you go south a little bit where Harun and Holland, Sylvania and Brent and all those are at, those have us, those have Sylvania Township, those have the county engineer, and those have ODOT. So there's a lot of pieces in the puzzle. Brent and Harun's actually the one that's the furthest along. It's in stage 2 plans. But we've set up a really good relationship with all of those agencies to make sure these roundabouts all have similar character and how feel when you go through them, right? So
That's
I think
where
to
I
your
was going.
point,
Yes.
That's kind of what we're doing. This one will have that same feel that all the rest of those will have.
That was the hope. Thank you.
Further questions for Mr. Shaw? Hearing none, we have ordinance 69, 2026 for consideration. Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is ordinance number 69, 2026. I'll read by title only. Accepting the proposal of Tetra Tech to provide professional engineering services for the Main Street and Convent Boulevard roundabout project, appropriating funds therefore in the amount of $387,700, and I move for passage as an emergency measure.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 69, 2026 as an emergency measure. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion carried and ordinance 69, 2026 is approved as an emergency measure. Moving on to agenda item.
Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
Just a comment and a question. The comment is that many people have approached me regarding the differences between the Brent and Centennial and the Sylvania Avenue. So hence that's what provoked the question and the consideration for future.
Yeah.
And it's ideal that we are taking that into consideration.
Yeah, to your point a little bit, on the Sylvania and Centennial one, it was made really big. It's almost too big. They have big trucks that go through from the quarry and everything, and that's fine. But if the county had to go back and redo that one, they wouldn't have made it as big as they did. Most of them are like the Britain Centennial one. They've reduced the footprint a little bit. Lucas County Engineer is way out in front of ODOT on these things. They have their own design standards that ODOT is looking to actually adopt. So because the county engineer is in year 15 of putting these on the ground, they have a ton of experience of what radii work, what doesn't, your entry angles, what works and what doesn't. So we're adopting all of those here so that as you go from Sylvania Township or you come from Springfield Township to Sylvania Township to the city of Sylvania, that all of these have these same feels to them. But I give the county engineer a lot of credit. 15 years of doing this has gotten them a lot of experience, and we're just piggybacking right on top of that.
Thank you for the education information.
Well stated, and certainly appreciate the county engineer's leadership, not only for our community, but also across the state as well. Moving on to agenda item number 13, we have administrative office building improvements. Mr. Shaw.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I bring a lot of equipment and vehicles to you guys. Sometimes they start with a 1, and those make me feel good. This one is one of those that starts with a 1, almost a 1980s type of feel to it. But yes, our administration building was dedicated October 28th of 1990. I can assure you a lot of our office furniture and tables and everything that goes with it is certainly from the 1990s. I think Mrs. Smith was sharing with me earlier today in her particular office, two file cabinets are kept together or stop from opening with duct tape. So one doesn't open when the other one is shut. So we certainly have some needs here in the administration building. It certainly isn't fun sometimes to come and say, okay, we're gonna buy some desks and chairs and stuff, but this stuff that we have, and particularly in the mayor's office suites and where Ms. Brining is at, where Ms. Smith is at, and where Claudia is at, down in the service department where we're at, our conference room tables, the finance conference room tables. If you put your hands on the chairs, don't do it. You get your hands black because the fabric is falling off on the floor. Just had somebody do that again today. So we certainly have some needs to try to address here. So what we are doing with these is we are tackling, like kind of what I said, the mayor's office, the law office, and economic development offices with new carpet, new paint, and new furniture with desks and chairs. And then on the first level in the service department office, we're doing the same thing. our conference room with new tables and chairs. And then all of the suites that are in there is getting upgraded chairs and furniture and furnishings as well. So we've got a couple different things embedded in here. Friends Office has been tremendous for us to work with. They are a supplier of HON, H-O-N, office furniture, which is a state cooperative purchasing program vendor, which is amazing. You basically can just plug and play, decide what you want. It's all in state term pricing, so it allows you the flexibility to change someone's suite out that has a different file cabinet, that may want something different, that has a different looking desk oriented. So it gives you a lot of room and some flexibility to play with the different pieces, which has been really good. So we've got them as one of these ordinances on here for a cost of $86,608.52. They're more of your chairs, your furnishings, your desks, those types of things. The second one that's in here is from Ream Snyder, which is the provider of the carpet in the second level in the mayor's office and the law director's suite. And that's to do brand new carpet there for $8,484.37. And then the last one is Erard Custom Painting. They're out of Northwood, and they're painting the mayor's office, the law director's suite, and this brining suite over there for $1,475. So the total cost of all of those improvements for this year is $96,567.89. So we had budget allocated for these. We were planning ahead. Some of the big things coming for administration building is obviously we're looking at facilities master planning to see how some of our HVAC systems are doing. We are going to need new carpet in probably most of the upstairs and downstairs, less the ones that we just talked about. All the carpet is original there too, so we have those that we're planning for in the next year or two. So a lot going on there. I'd be happy to answer any questions on any of it.
Before you ask any questions, I just wanted to add one other thing. If you happen to walk out of the mayor's office and you see, well, what is now Claudia's desk, you'll notice that there's a stack of, I don't know, is it paper?
It's an
Ms. Smith?
envelope that I folded 3 times and shimmed.
That basically shims so the desk drawer can actually open to get to the files that, she needed to get to, and now Claudia needs to get to.
Poor
So
Claudia thought I dropped something and she pulled it out and the drawer flew. I'm like, no, put it back in there.
These were very solid pieces of furniture in 1990. But at this point, they've served us well, and it's time to move forward with it. Mr.
Does Friends have a new roll of duct tape in their proposal?
No.
Just for 2050?
I'll toss in the duct tape for free, Mr. Murphy. I've got some of the house. Mr. McCann.
Mr. Shaw, I don't see any interior design consulting services for this. I suppose they have been possibly provided.
Yeah, they've been incredible. They have their own internal people that do that. Their renderings that they share us are all 3D, and like Ms. Brining and Ms. Smith have all been able to sit literally in their suite, spin 360 degrees around and look at orientations and stuff. So they've got those people that have done that. But in terms of like decorating and paint for everything else, I think that's something coming down the stretch, probably at a later date.
But we will have a consistent pattern.
Yeah, exactly. No. Yeah, all these are very consistent.
And anything done in the building will be building-wide consistent.
It's a great point. Thank you.
I'm probably gonna be the oddball, Mr. McCann. I'm just warning you. Why would you be shocked by that?
Will black go with that?
No black walls. Just no green, right?
No green.
No green.
I was just gonna ask, who's choosing the color scheme?
In my office, I'm choosing no green. Other than that, I'm flexible. So any other questions from Mr. Shaw in this matter? Hearing none, we have a number of.
These changes have to last as long as the 1991.
They will.
I think they will.
Yeah,
They will.
that's the hope,
They will.
right?
Plan.
Yep.
We've done a good job at taking care of it. I mean, you can only have fabric hold together for so long before it falls apart, and that's what our chairs are doing, so.
But
1990 doesn't seem that long ago to me, so
I think there are multiple members of council who are not born when when that was put in.
At least one.
Speaking of that, Ms. Stowe, we have ordinance number 70, 2026 for consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to introduce ordinance number 70-2026 and read by title only. Accepting the proposal of Friends Office to provide office furniture for the Craig A. Stowe Municipal Building Office Improvements Project, appropriating funds therefore in the amount of $86,608.52. I move for approval of ordinance number 70-2026 as an emergency measure.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 70, 2026 as an emergency measure. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried, and ordinance 70, 2026 is approved as an emergency measure. Moving on to agenda item number 13C, we have ordinance 71 for 2026 for consideration. Ms. Stowe.
I am scrolling my way to it here.
Yeah, this is a long, the 70 was a long one.
All right.
A lot
so-
of different stuff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to introduce ordinance number 71-2026 and read by title only. Accepting the proposal of Ream Snyder Decorating to provide and install carpet for the Craig A. Stowe Municipal Building Office Improvements Project, appropriating funds therefore in the amount of $8,484.37. I move for passage of ordinance number 71-2026 as an emergency measure.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve ordinance 71, 2026 as an emergency measure. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. And ordinance 71, 2026 is approved as an emergency measure. Moving on to agenda item 13D, we have ordinance 72, 2026 for consideration. Ms. Stowe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to introduce ordinance number 72-2026 and read by title only. Accepting the proposal of Arid Custom Painting for all labor and material for the Craig A. Stowe Municipal Building Office Improvements Project, appropriating funds therefore in the amount of $1,475. I move for passage of ordinance number 72-2026 as an emergency measure.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 72, 2026 as an emergency measure. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Moving on,
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hanem.
before we go further, for the students in the back, you just heard us spend a lot of money. We spent about $815,000 on these things. And that we did that in less than half an hour. Let me tell you that there's a lot of work that has gone in to all these things in advance. Council goes through a budget process. Administration goes through a budget process. We review that. We did that last year, in the fourth quarter of last year. So while we spend a lot of money fast, we've been thinking about it, and we're not rubber stamping anything there. We've been through this. We identified the projects up front, and now we're just confirming the individual expenditures to implement the big picture decisions that we've already made.
Well stated, Mr. Ham. Thank you for that. Moving on to agenda item 14, we have ODOT consent legislation. Mr. Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a project that will happen next year. For those of you wondering about the pavement condition of US 23 outside of our project, as you kind of work your way towards 475, a lot of longitudinal joint separation that's gone on there. Some of the bridge approach slabs are settling a little bit. But this project addresses that. This is an ODOT funded, I would call preservation maintenance type project that will happen next year. So they'll resurface all the way from the Michigan state line through our zone, maybe grab a little bit of the ramps that weren't done with our project, and then go to 475. If any of you have gone 23 south to 475 south, you go over the one bridge deck. I think it's over Sylvania Avenue, kind of the multi-use path that's there, and you about launch out of that. That is to be fixed with this project too. They've got a couple of slabs that are out of a whack there that they're going to address with this when they do it. So scheduled for next year. The reason it's here in front of you, this has zero city monies in it. They require any project that happens within the municipal limits to have consent legislation to allow their contractors the ability to perform those projects. So any of the work that's within the municipal limits, this is the kind of okay, you're okay to have your contractors work within our municipal limits, even though it's on a ODOT maintained highway. So with this, they recommend approval of the consent legislation to allow them to move forward. They're planning on bidding this project later this year. And I don't have a construction schedule just yet, other than to say 27. So be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Shaw?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hanson?
with this project in mind, and Mr. Shaw, this is kind of outside of Sylvania, but you know, there's a proposal to widen 475 from 23, I think, to C-Corps. Do you know any status updates or anything on that, and how it might tie into this?
It does not tie into this because it kind of stops at those limits. That project kind of picks up as soon as you, I'm gonna say Corey and come west a little bit. That's kind of where that project picks up, and it I think goes to Douglas. They have received track funding through design, so I believe they're in stage 2 design on that widening project. It's not funded in construction yet, but the next couple track rounds of funding that are available for them, they're gonna ask for funds for that, so it's marching forward. It's been a lot in the paper about property acquisition and everything, so it really pulled the project back in and minimized a lot of the property owner impacts with it, but still planning to move forward with it. I think 28, if I remember right, is when they're planning for that, but it's in that range.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for Mr. Shaw? Hearing none, the only thing I would say is this is a great project because we're not spending any money on this one. We appreciate ODOT helping us out with that. We have resolution 3, 2026 for consideration. Mr. Richardson.
Yes, this is resolution number 3, 2026. I will read by title only. A resolution of the Council of the City of Sylvania consenting to the resurfacing of a portion of US 23 in Lucas County, Ohio from 475 to the Michigan state line by the Ohio Department of Transportation. And I'll move for passage as an emergency measure.
Second. Motion and a second to approve resolution number 3, 2026 as an emergency measure. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item number 15, there's a letter here from myself regarding the potential appointment of Claudia Witkowski, who is with us this evening. She is now the administrative assistant, as you know. Mrs. Smith is now taking on, has the HR responsibilities as well as external communications, the broader communications with the community. So we went through a process, received resumes and applications, and there was an interview process that went forward. I ended up interviewing 2 candidates. Ms. Witkowski came out as the top candidate, and we retained her as the administrative assistant for the mayor. But as part of that, some years ago, Mrs. Smith, 4 years ago?
Yes.
4 years or so ago, we combined the job of clerk and the administrative assistant. So this letter is requesting council to consider and approve Ms. Witkowski as to become the new clerk of council as far as the city of Sylvania is concerned. Questions? One thing I mentioned some time ago about the potential to help Ms. Brining out with legislation. Ms. Witkowski has graduated as a graduate of the University of Cologne in Germany. She is a naturalized citizen of the United States. So has been here for many years, and we welcome her to work with the city.
She already wrote a couple of ordinances that were considered tonight.
Yeah,
so she's doing great.
So we appreciate her ongoing efforts, and we'd like the council to approve the appointment of Ms. Witkowski as the clerk of council. Mr. Richardson.
I'm ready to make a motion to confirm the appointment of Claudia Witkowski to clerk of council.
Second. A motion and a second to approve Claudia Witkowski to become the clerk of council for the city of Sylvania. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I did too.
Okay, sorry. No, you're not allowed to hide that.
I know. Off the record.
All opposed? Motion approved, and congratulations, Claudia, for your new role with the city, and we welcome aboard as the administrative assistant, but also as the clerk. And that has a important role in the charter and in our city.
And putting up with me.
Now, Laura, does that
No
mean you're gonna
comment.
start sitting over
Um,
there? Yeah.
That's a slippery slope, and that's just gonna get me into trouble comment.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. McCann.
shouldn't this have been the first order of business?
Well, we don't
I'm
have a clerk of council
technically
to
driving.
receive.
Until right now.
Until
So-
like, no, I'm out now.
Now she's handing the baton to somebody else. So moving on to committee reports, are there any committee reports to be made this evening? We have one thing that Mr. Shaw was asked to do. By members of council, we added agenda item 16A, a bridge construction update on Monroe Street Bridge. Mr. Shaw, could you give us a quick update?
Sure. I'd be happy to answer questions. On a brief introduction though, March was great. As you can see, that bridge deck came off very timely, very quick. It did not waste time. I like construction. I've been in construction a long time. I love seeing projects like this, just to see all the different pieces of the puzzle come together. There's two completely different disciplines going there at the same time that are broken by a bridge that has no deck on it, and to watch all of that kind of come together has been pretty good. So great progress, decks off, doing great. April's been off to a slow start. Mother Nature punched us a little bit, April 1st and 2nd. So we had a couple of slow days in there. It's been a little wet. But you know, for the most part, they keep plowing through. They're doing really good. So I would give them a, A- so far in progress and schedule and getting themselves going towards having a successful completed project by when we all expect it to be in early August. So one slip ramp that's going to close quick will be in the eastbound direction here in the next week or two. It's just going to be, you're going to be kind of rerouted to do a sharp right turn. So you may see that, but that's just to build more of the roadway by Kroger and to build the third lane that's over there. So you'll still have access to the expressway. It just will look a little different here in the next week or two, how you get to it. I think we've just massaged out a lot of the construction stuff. I've kind of given everybody if the clock is my fist here and you're gonna go clockwise around it, it seems to work really well with the bridge closure. So if you're on the west side of town and you wanna get to the east side, go up through Michigan, the right turns work really well. And just the opposite, if you're on the east side of town, wanna get to the west side of town, use Sylvania Avenue, come through Ohio, the right turns seem to work pretty well. Driven all different directions. Some of them are a little tougher than others. Whiteford and Corey is heavy. Arbor Hill School has had some issues getting in and out. That's been heavy, but we're trying to do the best that we can to, facilitate that as good as we can. So, any questions that you guys would have, I'd be happy to answer.
How are our friends up north?
Good. They've been quiet. Haven't heard much. Stearns is busy. If you've been on Stearns, it is a pretty steady flow of traffic, but backups to the expressway have not been many, if any at all. I think people have planned. I think they've given themselves 10 additional minutes. I give myself 10 additional minutes to get to work, and it only takes me about additional 5 or 6. So I think people are doing a good job adjusting.
Has the coordination between the entities worked out for traffic control?
Been working out well.
Have we had to make many modifications in timing for lights?
We made them immediately at Acres Road at Alexis and Monroe. That was a little wonky in the first week. We fixed that up so we get a little bit of flow moving between the lights. It's still not great, but we got it a little bit better than that. I did ask the county engineer to take a look at Sylvania Avenue and Whiteford, see if they can add some time for I'm gonna call it the eastbound and northbound movement for the left turns that are there. You can sit through a couple cycles there depending on what time of day you go through. But for the most part, we've been pretty good. Holland Sylvania's been pretty good. Sometimes southbound Holland Sylvania to eastbound Sylvania with the double left turns is a little slow. But again, I think if you just give yourself a little extra time, it's been pretty good. Our office has been pretty quiet, even in the first week. I would say it was under expectation. I expected more phone calls than we got. ODOT acknowledged to me, they said the same thing. They thought they would get more calls than they did. They still have had a few, but it's been less than they thought too. So overall, I think pretty good.
One thing I'd add, when at staff meeting on Thursday, I asked the chief and Mr. Shaw about response time, between the two sides, and We scheduled additional police officers on the east side of, of the bridge, obviously, and according to the chief, it doesn't look like, at least, we haven't run the specific numbers, but it doesn't look like response times have really changed much, if at all.
I did just get, March 2026's report today, and I started looking at it. We're, I think, about 19-20 seconds longer in priority 1 calls, which would be your severe calls that require immediate response, but our level 2 and 3, we are way ahead of where we were last year at this time. And that might have something to do with having that extra officer on that side too, so.
One of the things that we planned out when we were doing this project is we were adding an extra officer to the east side, just generally speaking. A little bit more overtime, a little bit more stress on the officers, obviously, with increased pace, but we certainly appreciate cooperation of the community and the township, quite frankly, to allow us to utilize one of their fire stations as a adjunct police location for us while this construction's underway. So that's been helpful.
And our IT department has been necessary and a strong help in getting that substation set up with the fire station so that the computer system and everything is over there, and it's just like the officers are sitting in our station, so they're able to stay on that side of the bridge and handle any paperwork they need to.
So a lot of planning. As Mr. Shaw said, we haven't really heard much. I don't know what you all have heard in regards to people you've spoken to in the community. I haven't heard a lot of people yelling at me about it. There's one person that asked me about why they weren't consulted and they didn't know anything about it, but other than that, that was pretty much, everybody else was like, we've been talking about this for 10 years. I think, when I was first on council many years ago, we were starting those conversations, if I recall.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to ask Chief if you could continue to have Captain Hubaker or yourself send me the drone photos, because those were received really well online.
Yes,
Seeing the progress.
We just got the drone up in flight in March.
Okay.
And we have officers that now have their pilot's licenses to fly it, so we're legal. So as we're moving and learning, that's part of their training.
Okay.
Is gonna be keeping us up to date on all the constructions around town. And
I
giving
even
us
had a resident call to thank
Okay.
us for posting that, so.
Do you get a special card if you have a drone license as a police officer? Do you get like a little
Like the
badge or something
Jetsons.
extra?
I might have to
It's a
give 'em little
profile.
pin with wings or something.
Fair enough. Thank you very much. Anything else to come before council this evening? Any committee referrals? Hearing none, nothing else to come before council. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn city council meeting for this evening. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried and this meeting is adjourned. And council is adjourned until our next meeting at 6:30 PM in 2 weeks on Monday, April the 20th. Thank you very much, everyone.
I like to be supportive.